Hello and welcome to yet another SDG goal. And today we're going to take you out of the world, literally into space. I'm Daud Wade, your SDG host, and hopefully I'll be taking you through the series called the Changemakers World. What do I have for you today? Well, I've got a very lovely program which I call it the Hello Gravity. We're talking about SDG, goal number 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. To begin with, there are so many inventions that are happening every day. Who do we credit them to? Where do we take the lessons from? I will take you to a two-part series on SDG Goal 9, and the first one, as I promise you, is absolutely out of the world. Well, to start with a very Bollywood type of trivia. Look at the poster. Well, there's nothing much to look about. It's an ordinary pen, or is it ordinary? Which movie am I talking about? As I said, this is a Bollywood movie, one of the most amazing epic movie ever made. Three friends, college, education, innovativeness, Sonam Wangchuk. And if you have got me, pause me and tell me your answer loudly. I'm talking about a movie called Three Idiots. If you have failed to know what the movie is about, don't worry. How do I connect this with the idea or the story of the pen is this lovely conversation that happened. So there is this virus, right? And he is the principal of the school, supposed to be one of the best engineering college in India. And he tells his entire student about this pen. The pen that he's holding is a special space pen. He says that because the pen were leaking in space and in zero gravity, the pen would not work. The scientists actually at NASA spent years and years of research to make a space pen. And he said, I've been waiting for a student who can deserve this space pen. And as he's talking about it, one of his worst students, the one he hates the most, he raises his hand and he says, Sir, why did they not make a pencil? And this is a very pertinent question. Long into the movie, he realized the student was extraordinary and the student ended up being the hero I spoke about, Mr. Sonam Wangchuk. But that's not the crux of the story. The story was, why a pencil? Why not a pen? And if you understand, the real problem was, it was all about your perspective. Innovation comes this way. And however, the principal was smarter than the student, and that is a lesson we learn. He said a pencil is dangerous because the nib, which is essentially made of graphite, not lead as most of us have come to believe in, can actually, and anything that is broken can keep going around and it can hurt you or can come in the eye. That is why pencil is not recommended in space. So the problem would always be having some solution or multiple solution. That is what innovation and SDG is all about. But when I said space pen and we made a fun of space pen, actually the space pen was one of the most amazing, creative, innovative concept ever done. If you look at the space pen, by the way, this was invented by Paul Fisher. NASA commissioned this space pen, which could actually be filled with a gel called liquid nitrogen. So the ink was so beautiful, it could write on any angle, any surface, in a vacuum, even underwater, and from the freezing temperature to the boiling world that we're talking about. So actually, a space pen is a real innovation. It is sold as a part of the NASA's Apollo mission anniversary, and any innovation that leads to the new world we know about is an amazing world. So why is this beautiful? Is because sometimes we have very linear thinking. It is said, if your only tool is a hammer, all the solutions will be like a nail. Just bang it through and find the solution. We're not looking at hammer as a solution. We are asking questions. And in SDG 9, what we keep saying is ask question. Why do we create a series of 5 questions? Why do birds fly? Well, that's the starting of the invention that humans wanted to fly. How do you live underwater? How can I breathe? What if there were no gravity? Interesting, right? Is gravity a problem? Well, I can't fly because of gravity. Trust me, if there's no gravity, everything will collapse. The world, as we know, is stuck together like a Fevicol. Gravity holds everything together. Oh, by the way, if there's no gravity, the distance between Earth and the sun would be closing down and it will melt inside the sun. Welcome to the world where we appreciate what gravity is about. There's a series of videos I'd like to show you, and then maybe link of these where how do the astronauts breathe? How do the astronauts brush? How do the astronauts go to loo in space? in no gravity, all of these would be challenged. Imagine you're pooing and the poo, yuck, it's very ugly, but that's what we do. Sometimes people wonder, what do NASA really do? The Space Research Organization, is it only there to find aliens? So I thought I will tell you the outer world, the blowing out of mind, out of Earth spin-off project that NASA has done has led to some amazing cool inventions that you and I are benefiting from. Memory foam, oh my goodness. This is NASA's research for their own astronauts, that today when you have, lying down on a mattress or your shoes which has lovely soles, the memory foam is the great work of these NASA researchers. When you go to space, you need a food which is packed so well, it doesn't disintegrate, it doesn't spoil. And that is how the vacuum packed food came in. Today, when you go to a supermarket and buy from a freezer, you pick up some of the nuggets, or you pick up the beans, or you pick up anything that is sealed packed, that's also from the NASA's research factory. Or what about fireproof clothing? Well, one of the very sad incident, unfortunate incident that happened in the Apollo 13, the fire broke out and 3 astronauts died. That is when NASA put a lot of money in developing clothing that would not catch fire. And here we are, the fire engines that we use today, the firemen that we are using the cloth is all the NASA spin-off research. Well, for all those who want to still think, how does it help you? All the cameras you see on your mobile, the miniature digital cameras, it was all meant for space research. And thanks to that, you can take your Instagram selfies. Otherwise, you would not be there. And well, what would my world be? Goal number 7, I'm talking about solar power. When the space, the satellites were launched into orbit, you needed an external source of power that could refuel them. You wouldn't put petrol and diesel and fossil fuels there. Solar power came from those research out there. So NASA is there in your everyday life. In fact, we've got 1,800 recorded NASA spin-offs from transportation, technology, consumer good, energy, healthcare, public safety, industry that are making our lives safer, healthier, and more efficient. Thanks to that, this is your goal number 9, innovation, industry, and infrastructure. Let me run through some amazing quizzes, a little gyan before I wrap up my first part of the SDG 9. Who are these heroes? I'm sure you recognize them. The handsome one on the left is Elon Musk, and on your right is this Amazon founders Jeff Bezos. Now I add one more hero to this. These are 3 entrepreneurs. What's common between the 3? And if you haven't guessed who they are, right? This is Richard Branson from UK, Elon Musk, whose one tweet can change the share prices, and then we've got Jeff Bezos. They are all what I call spacepreneurs. They all have done so much in the world. They are multi-millionaires. It's no more about money, that hunger that fuels them. They're keeping themselves healthy because they want to be among the first people who can live in space. Jeff Bezos have a company called the Blue Origin. Elon Musk, besides the Hyperloop, the Boring Company, and the Tesla, he has something called the SpaceX. And Richard Branson has something called Virgin Galactic, and they want to be the pioneers in space research. Interesting, isn't it? Well, this is what astronauts are doing. Today, people are training to be astronauts. And by the way, FYI, an astronaut means a sailor among stars. How beautiful is this? So someone who's sailing among stars is an astronaut. And if astronaut is an American word for someone who goes to space, what's the Russian and the Indian word for astronauts? Think about it, pause me, tell me your answers. And here is it. The easy one is the Russian. I grew up in the 80s, the Cold War time, and we always heard of the word called cosmonauts. They're one and the same thing. But Indian, you will be surprised. What's an Indian astronaut called? Rakesh Sharma. Who was he? Well, they are called the Vayunauts. Vayu as in wind or space. The Vayunauts and the cosmonauts are Indian and Russian, contemporaries of the American astronauts. What's the Chinese version? Google it and you'll find out. So you see, the astronauts have one of the toughest lives. They say an astronaut's work twice as hard as a tennis player and 4 times as hard as a Formula 1 racer. They need to be fit, mentally healthy. They need to have the right balance in their body, the food they take. And they also need to speak Russian and Chinese because most of the ISS, International Space Station, have these wordings. Isn't it amazing? They learn how to scuba dive, live in zero gravity, and this is what you're talking about. All right. another trivia, which is more expensive, an astronaut suit or the Thanos entire thing in the Avenger? Now, you know, while I'm an Avenger fan, but here, astronaut wins hands down. One suit you see on an astronaut is equal to 12,000 three zeros, which is exactly 1.2 CR or $12 million. That is how expensive an astronaut suit is all about. So, well, you want to take on a little spacewalk? Let's do some astronaut fun. What do they have? Well, this is a helmet, which is a camera on the back to send immediate live pictures to her. The helmet have a visor and a protection from the rays of the sun. They have a primary life support, which is the oxygen suit, and there's water, which is also carried in the back. Interesting, isn't it? What else do they have? They have gloves. Well, who doesn't need gloves? We all need, from Virat Kohli to goalkeepers, but all the way in the nasty conditions they are in, the gloves are useful. They have display and control module right in front of them. They can see their own life support. They can see what's happening in front. Maybe they meet an alien, they know what to talk to him. They have a radio which can constantly talk to the space station and the orbitary or the observatory back in on Earth. And then the space suit have the right temperature, the body, not very cold, not very hot. It's perfect. The Goldilocks suit is what the astronaut is wearing right now. And yes, I have these videos. Check them out on YouTube. The way they sleep, the way they eat, it's absolutely amazing. You know, one of my favorite scientists, Stephen Hawking, actually had experienced zero gravity and you float. So you basically tie yourself before sleeping, or you attach themselves to walls or ceilings or floor so that you don't go down. The food is all around, right? The astronauts see food and you can pick up anything that's flying out there, a bean or a carrot, and then you need to make sure whatever is left over, right? You learn a lot of etiquettes. You don't just leave them, you put them in the vacuum bag and let it float again whenever you need. And really, brushing, well, one of the yuckiest things that you do when you brush, you just can't spill out the content because they'll keep floating eternally. You'll either gulp it down, yuck, or you must throw them in a very, very closed plastic bag. One last thing before I end up this hello gravity part. What's common between these three? It's a fun question. And if you've guessed out, well, I know that's Dolly, the first clone sheep. That's Laika, the first animal in space. And this man, his name is Dennis Tito. He's the first space tourist. Tourist, right? The first space tourist. So welcome to the world of a space world. It's completely silent. There's no noise out there. And I hope you enjoy what I did. I just took out on a journey of innovation. Let's explore the world around us. Let's be creative. Let's create new world as we know. Good luck, goodbye, and hope to see you again.